So on June 23rd of 1810, a guy named John Jacob Astor decides that he's going to start the Pacific Fur Company. He's in New York. He'd already made a bunch of money off a different trade with China, um, and he decides that furs are the next thing. And so he buys this ship called the Tonquin, and he hires a captain named Jonathan Thorne to take over captaining this ship. And he sends them off. By the time they reach the Falkland Islands, bad things are happening on this ship. Turns out Captain Thorne was not particularly level headed, and he had the bonus bad trait of when he made decisions, he then backtracked on those decisions, right? He capitulated, he chickened out very quickly. And so he gets to the Falkland Islands. He's mad at part of his crew. He leaves 8 men in the Falkland Islands. He leaves them there. Then they catch up in a rowboat, and other people on the ship say, hey, that was a terrible idea, and he capitulates and he lets them back on the ship. By the time he reaches Hawaii, this whole ship is speaking in languages he doesn't know, because all the crew speaks French Canadian, and all of the other passengers, the Pacific Fur Company traders, speak Scottish Gaelic, and he's left speaking English and being spoken around instead of to. It's going poorly. They get over to the Pacific Northwest. They pick up a translator named Josequal. Josequal is not actually one of the people who they're going to be trading with, but he knows enough of the language to be helpful. He's also the only reason we know what happened on this ship, because he's the only survivor of what happens on this ship. They get over there, they start doing the translations while they're doing the fur trade. So they're working with the Talaquiat there. And there's a group of men who have come to trade, including the kind of chief leader of the group. And he insults Captain Thorne, supposedly, by offering too high of a price for his furs. He says that he wants like 5 blankets per fur. And Captain Thorne decides that the way he's going to respond to this trade negotiation is to take a fur and smack the leader across the face with it, which goes poorly. He then declares he's not going to trade with them. They're like, fine, that's fine. We didn't want to trade with you anyway. They show up the next day. They're like, are you sure you don't want to trade? And rather than hold this line and go find somebody else to trade with, he says, actually, sure, let's hear what you have to say. They say, we would like those knives that you were talking about yesterday, and we'll just trade you furs for knives. They start bringing more and more of these guys on. All these guys have these furs. They're trading for knives until slowly everyone in the group that's one of these indigenous people on the ship has been armed. And then it goes very badly for the captain and everybody else. Only 4 sailors remain after the badly, and 3 of them get on a rowboat and row away, and one of them is badly injured to begin with. So he ends up climbing into the gunnery, which is important in a second. So here they are, and the ship has been completely decimated. Everybody is done. The 3 have fled, but they're pretty quickly captured. The only person remaining is Josequal, who's the guy who is the translator. The next day, all of these indigenous people come and climb on the ship because they knew that everybody was gone the day before, except that there wasn't. There was one guy left. And it happens to be the guy that is really comfortable with gunpowder. And so he had set a fuse down to this area, and he sets off the entire gunpowder stock in the base of this ship after about 100 indigenous people have climbed onto the ship. So over the course of like 24 hours, June 15th to 16th of 1811, the whole ship goes, and then 100 indigenous people go up. The gunner obviously also doesn't make it. And the only person left that can tell this story is the translator, who later, like years and years later, explains to people what had happened on the ship that day.